a big part of my job at Adweek is to cover the innovative ways that companies are reaching consumers through digital channels. And, social media has been a big focus, I think, for the last year. And I think one of the things from talking to a lot of people is like every day something new comes up. And, you can't turn on CNN for an hour without Twitter being mentioned, I think, 5 times. And I think one of the big problems is trying to separate what's important from what's unimportant. It's kind of reminded of this last night I was watching. I don't know if anyone saw the NewsHour last night. But like when the NewsHour starts to cover Twitter, I think, something is definitely happening. And part of the story was this pastor who was using Twitter. And he was trying to make the point that it was, a really important part of his work right now. And he was saying, if you think about the parables, most of them were only 250 words. So, I was thinking, I was like, does that mean like Jesus was the original Twitterer? So I think it's easy to go overboard. And I don't know, maybe we'll discuss whether Jesus was the original Twitterer, but hopefully we can...
What would Jesus tweet?
What would he tweet? So hopefully we've got, 3 real experts who are gonna come at this from a lot of different directions. And, the goal is to sort of separate what's important from what's unimportant, and more importantly, how these platforms and tools, because that's what they ultimately are, can be used by you guys to improve your businesses. So along that theme, I wanted to start off with sort of a broad question, and I want to start with Mark on this one. Clients must come to you often and be like, Mark, what the heck is going on? Is this a revolutionary thing? Is this an evolutionary thing? How do I get my arms around it? From looking at consumer behavior, do you see this as a revolutionary thing, what's happening with social media channels?
In fact, I do. For me, the revolution that I observe in all the time that we spend with consumers around the country and looking at the changes in their behavior and how they make decisions and what are the most important factors in their making the decisions. It isn't so much just about a social media revolution. So in other words, it's not, whether we'll all be tweeting in 5 years or whether Facebook will be up or down. I really couldn't say. But the way decisions are being made has changed. It's been revolutionized by the way the internet has developed, due to the ability of people to find the communities they want to find and to talk to each other a lot more than they used to. We really have finally that global village that was predicted by someone whose name I forgot. And so the rules of the old village, the pre-advertising village, really do hold, and for maybe 100 years in between, certainly from radio until social media, the most efficient way for large advertisers to aggregate an audience was for us to you advertising. It was efficient, and all these agency networks built up in order to deliver that sort of mass marketing to large target audiences. But now there, I'll give you the extreme case, the $25 makeup product. I know this is out of I mostly work in the financial services industry, but usually financial services decisions are considered important, and you would expect a certain amount of word of mouth and reputation gathering to be going on. But here's the extreme example: $25 buy it over the counter Macy's makeup product. 8 out of 10 of the women that we talked to who were buying this product, even if they first encountered it in the retail setting, went back to the internet in order to find out what people were saying about it and to compare prices before they went back and bought. $25 product. That's a radical change. Never heard anything like that 5-10 years ago. So, to summarize, what we say at Digo is we are not in an advertising world anymore. We're in a social world. And in a social world, what people say to each other is more important than what you say through your advertising. And that requires a radical rethinking of the whole communications process in a business. And there's certainly defensive things you have to do, but you really have to think through, how do we play in this new world? Because if you don't, people who do will gain the advantage.
So, Dale, I want to get to you for the media perspective, but first, Eric, maybe you can talk, you have over 25 years experience, I think, in public relations.
Yep.
How, is this an evolution or a revolution for communications from your perspective?
I think that I've made a concentrated effort in the last 2 years to dive into this virtual world. I built a career, I've written books on living in a brick and mortar world, and now I have, as some people on my staff refer to, Comic Book Eric, playing around in the virtual world. Comic Book Eric is really popular, much more popular than the real guy. But Comic Book Eric is it's a mirror image of what I do during the day. It's taking what I'm able to do in the course of a day, including being here right now, and reaching large numbers of people simultaneously. And what's most important about it is that you can tangibly, I'm not guessing whether people are clicking, whether people are going. I can see it, and I can see it in real time. You were talking about a company that Mark and I own together. We just launched a campaign this morning for Tappening. It's a environmental company that promotes tap water. I could see before I came here, and this is just from Twitter, that 30,000 people had actually looked at an ad that his brilliant agency did. I could see that before I left. So it's not like saying, oh, good ad, or maybe it will modify. You can see that, and you can see the pool at the cash register too. And I guess the other thing is, I'm not sure I sit in the middle. I play in all of the, besides LinkedIn, that's a definite winner. I play in all the worlds. I don't know who the keepers are and who they're not, so I'm basically riding all of the horses. I'm sure that some of them will disappear, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, I have no idea. I know that they work, that they're very, very efficient, and I know that a middle-aged guy like me who needs the New York Times to start his day is a lot different than my 17-year-old daughter who knows as much about current events as me, who will never go to the curb and get the New York Times. So I think that we need to be in both worlds until we figure out this world.